Well, welcome to the News Review segment. And let's get into the papers this morning. Our guest is the NDC parliamentary candidate for South Tong, Maxwell Lukuto. Max, good morning and welcome.
Good morning, my brother. I hope you are doing well.
I'm well. I'm only imagining the time I'll come to Volta region to enjoy, the hospitality in the region as well, especially from your facility.
Yeah, anytime, any day, you are welcome. My facility is open to 24/7, and you are always welcome to enjoy the Volta region as you so wish. Volta region is one of the very serene environments we have.
Yeah.
And because of the distance from Accra and Tema, most revelers from Accra would wish to just drive less than an hour, and they are here. We have the serene Volta, and especially my constituency, very welcoming. You have the Abulu. I don't know whether you have enjoyed the Abulu and the Bovilulu and the 1,000.
No, I haven't.
But you like that, Odi?
I've heard so much about the Abolo, so maybe when I come out, I'll try that one.
I'll give you the Abolo and that Odi. I know it's environs will welcome you to my constituency, and I'm sure you enjoy it.
Okay, all right. Let's see.
Take a few days off from your busy schedule and come over. You'll be welcome.
Thank you. I'll one day come there. I've enjoyed my Western region so much, so I have to try the Volta region and see how it goes. But I'll come around. We have the Daily Graphic newspaper today. We have the Daily Guide, and we have the Business Finder. Now, on the Daily Graphic, it says WASSCE written papers begin with oral English exam for Ghana only. Okay. Now, Super Delegates Conference, NPP aspirant justify inclusion Saturday. It comes with a photograph of Professor Aaron Mike Okoye, former Speaker of Parliament. 2023 Ghana Teacher Prize launched, and EU inject 120 million euros into West Africa exports. Wow, this is good. Also from the Daily Guide newspaper, it says, I don't fear prison, Jachi Kwesen says. It comes with a beautiful photograph of Mr. James Jachi Kwesen. And NDC MPs, police agree on BOG protest. 7-5 for 2 slots in NPP Super Delegates Confab. Okay. It comes with a photograph of Alan Chamanting and Dr. Mahmoud Baumia. Now, ECG sacks 11 top officials. Oh, okay. And Duka opens workshop for small-scale miners. That also on page 9 of the Daily Guide newspaper. On the Business Finder, it says FDIs must be mutually beneficial. GIPC boss tells captains of industry. We'll continue to take our airports safe, to keep our airports safe and offer pleasant travel experience. It comes with a picture of MD of the Ghana Airport Company Limited, Madam Pamela Johnson. So those are the stories here. Let's start with the Daily Graphic newspaper. Now, if we go to page 3, it says NPP aspirant justify inclusion on Saturday. Now, the story says the fierce race to decide who leads the new patriotic party in the 2024 presidential election enters the home stretch as the ruling party hosts its Super Delegates Conference on Saturday to reduce the 10 aspirants to 5. The suspense-filled Special Electoral College will be a prelude to the crucial National Conference on November 4, 2023, where the party's flag bearer for the 2024 general election will be selected. The national-wide poll follows months of intensive campaign by the aspirant across the length and breadth of the country to win the hearts and minds of the delegates in whose hands their destiny lies. The candidates have been rallying the delegate with their capabilities not only to transform the Ghanaian economy and to pretend over the country's development, but also to lead the NPP to break the 8-year cycle of governance between the NPP and the NDC. Mr. Lukuto, I'm sure you being on the other side, you're just praying that you get a candidate that you can easily beat. What are your expectations going into Saturday?
First of all, let me use the opportunity to wish my WASSCE candidates all the best in the forthcoming exams, especially students of my old school, which I was the national president over Sogasco. So I wish them all the best in the WASSCE exams. as for the NPP super delegates confirmed, whatever it is, whether it's a beauty contest, whether it's a contest of ideas, whether they are going to choose somebody who can break the eight or who has already broken themselves. We are not too sure what they are going to do, but whoever emerge as the winner, we are solid on the ground. We are waiting for them. And I set out to understand why the headline stated that 7 are going to justify for a position of 2. It presupposes that people feel Baumia, Alan Chemanti, and maybe Kennedy Japan have taken the first 3 slots, and they are only looking for the 2 other slots. And the dynamos, the other
Cabinet Japan, Dr. Akoto Efriye, Joe Gatti, and all of you.
Joe Gatti, and all the other people are all fighting to get 2 slots. It's interesting the way NPP can come out with some of these things, but it stands to reason that they know what they are going to do. And people have already been described as system candidates, and they are the candidates the presidency feels can continue with their loot share government that they have created. The despondency that we have experienced as Ghanaians over all these 7 years and still counting, I wonder why they feel that Baumia will be better placed to continue for them. And we are just waiting for them. Whoever they bring, I'm not sure we are too bothered about. We are just almost finishing with our constituency elections so that we are solid and to match them anytime, any day they come. Ghanaians have seen the level of depredation that we have experienced over these years and the way we are sliding down the doldrums. And I'm not sure anybody would want to listen to this mantra of breaking the 8 any longer. And so for us, whatever they will do Saturday, I heard some few of them running their mouth on TV and all those other things. We are just waiting for them to break themselves, and then they'll come and meet us.
So for you, it's what they are doing is much ado about nothing, because in the end,
sure, I usually describe it as a beauty contest. It's not really about ideas, because what is a new thing they have to espouse that will interest Ghanaians? We continue to see every day pockets dry, and then we have people suffering every day. Salaries remain the same. Water and electricity is just about to be increased 1st September. And we continue to experience the hardship, and that the Bank of Ghana has gone down the doldrums. They still want to push things around down our throat as well. And so for me, there's nothing new that they will bring up. Which of them? Joe Gatti, Alan Chemati, Trade Ministry, Baumia, Vice President, and Kennedy Ajipo, who can just insult anybody and everybody, who runs his mouth as if there is no tomorrow, and today he wants to behave as a pope of the Catholic Church. I don't see any of them who is supposed to be a threat to us as NDC. Ghanaians have seen their work, and none of them can extricate themselves from whatever hardship we are experiencing now. And so for me, it's much ado about nothing. It's just that as a democratic party, as they claim they are, they have to present somebody, and that's what they are going through. But ideally, they would have just given up and say, oh, enough of it, come and take over and run the show. Let's see how you can bring back hope to Ghanaians. The NDC is the only party for now who Ghanaians are looking up to bring the best we can experience in governance from 2025. So for them, it's the end of them. We just hope that they break themselves and come and beat us. So it's much ado about nothing, really.
All right. Let's see how it goes. Whether in the end it will be much ado about nothing or something ado about something.
What do you think yourself? Do you think they are up to something? No. Sincerely, perhaps. Do you think, as a Ghanaian, not as a journalist speaking to me now, do you think they have anything to offer to us after 2025?
Oh, that question can best be answered by our viewers. So let's leave it to them and see.
That's okay. Sure, I'm sure viewers would answer by themselves.
Exactly. Now, if we move to page 13, it says EU inject 120 million euros into West Africa export. The story is written by Maclean Kofi. It says the European Union has invested 120 million to boost the competitiveness of exports on the international market from Ghana and other West African countries. In Ghana, over 100 million cedis has been injected into 3 main value chains, namely cassava, mango, and pineapple, and cosmetics and personal care product. The investment in Ghana was to improve the competitiveness of Ghanaian exports on the global market. The investment made in the last 3.5 years was the EU's contribution towards the West African Competitiveness Program, WACOMP, a partnership initiative between ECOWAS and EU. The program seeks to strengthen the competitiveness of West African products and to enhance the integration of ECOWAS countries into the regional and international trading system, including the African Continental Free Trade Area, AfTA. This is good news, of course.
Good news.
Now, I'm told this has been running for the past 3 years. How do we ensure that beyond it, we are taking it a step further beyond even their support?
Yeah, of course. So those are the things we need to look at. That once we have this foreign direct investment, which angles do they go? Yes, we have mentioned cassava, we've mentioned pineapple, and we mentioned something else. These are things that we can easily produce in our land. But the question is that what policies do we have around Greek and this foreign direct investment? There are a lot of things we can do for ourselves. And then the little we do will not be able to send us as far as we wish to. And so when these things come, it depends on policy direction. Do we still divert some of these funds into some other things, and then we don't concentrate on the main reason why the EU have come to invest? What other policies do we have around engaging, especially the youth, in this agricultural business so that we can have a lot more? What are our policy about equipment, how we bring them in, whether we send them to the real places, whether our soil maps indicate to us exactly where we can get a lot out of these very crops or products we wish to produce. How are we driving this? How are we encouraging those who want to go to agree to do? Are we leaving them to their fate and just giving this money to cronies, friends? And we are really not looking at those who are into the farming, but we'll give the money to other people to go do other things. For some of us, those are the things we need to check. It should not be just said that so much has been brought, so much has been invested. The question is that, are we doing monitoring and evaluation? How much benefits have we made out of these things? And the EU government, that brings the thing. How well are they monitoring to be sure that the investments they have brought has yielded the same result they are looking for? So for me, it's good news. The more we get these things, the more we should encourage ourselves to be prudent in the spending and make sure that we don't just divert these funds and come back home with nothing. It should be good news for us to engage our farmers. Farming should be one of the key things that we encourage in Ghana because we have very good arable land, especially in my constituency. There's a lot of land. We have a lot of land we can engage in cassava farming, which I think is so good around the Doklama area. And so, but I have not heard about any injection of such capital into this cassava farming around our area. I remember the bourgeoisie cassava farm that President Kufuor seriously encouraged. What has come out of that? Are we still encouraging that? Has the investment go to those exact areas? What are they producing? Are we getting the returns? For some of us sitting outside, those are the things we need to be monitoring, watching, and making sure that the money doesn't go elsewhere, but gives us the best result that we are expecting.
How do we ensure that, farmers and SMEs take advantage of some of these opportunities? Because for me, this is even the first time I'm hearing this.
Yeah, you see, so sometimes we need to do, I keep talking about policy. You don't dole out money to people just like that. They go and use for funerals and some other things. So if it is about plowing 100 acres of land for somebody, get the tractor, come to the field, inspect it, make sure that it is plowed. If it is about supply of seed, make sure you supply the seed to the person, have a monitoring system, make sure that it was planted. If it's about the weedicides that you have to give to the person. So in as much as possible, let's reduce the doling out of cash to these individuals and make sure that we supply them all the things they need, monitor and make sure that the right things are done. For me, those are some of the things we can put in place and make sure that we don't continue to give our money and come back to count our loss anytime, any day. So once we monitor these things very well and engage the right people in doing these things, it brings us a lot of dividends. But usually these things come and you have some party people go to line and write their names. The money is given to them as a loan.
Oh, this is by the EU. You think that will be encouraged or that could be done?
EU doesn't come directly to dole our money, do they? they will definitely pass it through the Ministry of Agri or the particular agency responsible for whatever program they have. And these are Ghanaians. And most of these people are put there by politicians. So for me, if we can take away politics of all these things, did we not hear of the Ministry of Agri that Honorable Akoto headed, who was just running his map, and at the end of the day, we don't see anything happening on the ground? What has happened out of all those several planting for food and job, what other policies? All those mantras we have heard from the Ministry of Agri, was it not he who sponsored and other Westerners sponsoring these programs before at the end of the day, we didn't see much? So it's about those driving the policy at the Ministry of Agri and the agencies through which these things come, that we have to speak to and make sure that they do the right things. So that is my call, that let's make sure that we press the right buttons, make sure the right people are involved, we get the right result out of it, and then we are good to go.
I think tie into that one is a story on page 16 of the daily graphic. It says that $24 million integrated rural development project launched. The Ministry of Local Government, Decentralization and Rural Development has launched the second phase of the Integrated Rural Development Project, IRDP. The project seeks to provide critical infrastructure and economic empowerment to 23 deprived districts across the country. The $24 million initiative, spanning 2022 to 2027, is a partnership between the government and the OPEC Fund for International Development. The Sector Minister, Dan Boche, launched the initiative in Accra yesterday. Aside from providing infrastructure in the education and health sectors, the project also seeks to eradicate poverty and ensure a sustainable increase in the income level of rural communities through the provision of microcredit. The IRDP has 4 components made up of the provision of socio-economic infrastructure, the provision of credit to small-scale and medium enterprises, SMEs, outreach, sensitization and capacity building, and management and coordination. Under the project, OFID will provide a loan facility of $20 million, while the government and beneficiary district provide $800,000 and $3.2 million, respectively. The beneficiary district are Tema West in the Greater Accra region, Efija Kwabren North, Setrek Central, Offenso North, and Setrafram Plains, all in the Ashanti region, and Okere, Equiapem South, and Ayenswano in the Eastern region. Others are Sen North and Ewutu Senya in the Central region, Esikado Keten in the Western region, Adaklu in the Volta region, Karaga in the Northern region, Binduri in the Upper East region, and Sunyani West and Wenchi in the Bono region. So, I mean, once this is coming in, you are still looking at, as you said, how well this can be implemented. So, what sort of advice will you give in terms of how we can better implement this project?
Yes, like I told you last week, my father is a farmer. He ever won the district best farmer. And you see, when some of these facilities come, too much is wasted on workshops, on officers, on travels, on these, instead of the things that really benefiting the farmers. Most of the officers responsible find cunning ways of spending these things so that what goes back to the farmers is very little. So my point is that let us know that this is supposed to benefit us on the ground. There's too much talking, there's too much bureaucracy, there's so many workshops that they organize. At the end of the day, do not go directly to affect the very purpose for which reason these monies have been released. On several occasions, we have heard, we have seen, we have experienced, we have known that monies have been given out for policies and for very critical areas of our life, especially about agri. But at the end of the day, we don't get the results we need. Those who are giving the money are not really farmers on the ground. They just come and write people's name and they go away. Can you imagine that district best farming policy that we have as a people, even now has been politicized? That even before they give you the best farmer, they would have to see whether you belong to a particular party or not. Can you imagine that this is not done based on meritocracy and that they just choose people in the way they are? So for me, it is time we eschew politics in all our dealings, especially when it comes to these critical areas of ours as a people. Agri, which should be a very critical aspect of our thinking as a people, as Ghanaians. We are not in the Sahara, we are not in the desert. We are in a place where we have a lot of arable land that we can use these donor agencies fund to develop ourselves. Let us not continue to think about doling out this money to ourselves and finding cunning ways of just spending the money. Let us get
So,
to the
so,
ground and make
so,
sure
is it your suggestion that the focus of this integrated rural development project should be, towards developing agriculture?
the farmers, yes, the farmers, the people at the grassroots. You are targeting the poor. It should not be given to party apparatchiks. It should be given to the people who need it so that we can eradicate poverty, which is our focus and our goal. That should be our goal as people in governance. Nothing more, nothing else. It is not about how much money we go and pile in our homes. Money should be brought for cleaning our gutters, and one person will go and pile it in his house. Money is brought for free fertilizer. One person will take the fertilizer and go and sell and make money and come back that he wants to be president. These are the things we are talking about. Let the money go to the ground and affect the very people whose lives the people outside saw and want to improve and has brought us this fund. That is all my plea to us Ghanaians.
Let's turn to the Daily Guide newspaper now, and let me take you to page 6 of the paper. It says ECG sacks 11 top officials. The story is written by IF Joe Ewua Jr. from Kumasi. Now, the Electricity Company of Ghana has sacked 11 top executives for allegedly causing financial loss to the company, the Daily Guide has uncovered. These top executives included Treasury executives, senior IT assistant accounting officer, artisans, and customer service officers, among other senior staff. A reliable source in the ECG who demanded anonymity said the affected top executives indulged in various illegal activities that adversely affected the coffers of the ECG. Their offenses included tampering or falsification of records, tampering of payment data, unauthorized payment and transfers, and others which caused financial loss to the ECG. Some of the sacked officials were also found culpable of vacating their posts without permission from their superiors or management of the ECG. The affected staff were stationed in the various regions of the country until they were given their sack letters, which indicated that their services were no longer needed. Quote, as of August 2023, 11 top executives of the ECG from various regions have been sacked by management for causing financial loss to the company, the source said. Okay. So this is it. I mean, I don't read anywhere in the story that they've been taken to court. Should it end there by with just their sacks?
It's interesting the way we behave in this country called Ghana. There are several things that we suffer from, and people are just asked to leave, and that is all. Like you heard our foreign affairs minister going to rant and make a media show. If you know you have overstayed, if you've been here for 1 year, don't come back to office on Monday, and that's all. And people would ask, are we serious as a people? Is that how best practices are supposed to be experienced in a country, in a setup? No. So this ECG office, they don't come to work. They have involved themselves in this and that is all. And they be sacked. Whether they be taken through due process, whether it's one of their policies in the company that once this happens, this is what you do, we are not too sure about. But the real thing is the effect we are experiencing on the ground as people. You know, ECG is responsible for making sure that wheat under their lines are also cleared anytime, any day. How often do they do these things? The last time on the Rosa Highway and then ECG, my guys in Kutama, you know, Kutama is my village. They have to organize themselves under the auspices of the assembly member to go and clear the roadside themselves. These are monies that government has already budgeted for highway and for ECG to be clearing the sides of the road and under our electricity lines. But at the end of the day, you don't see this is happening. But it will interest you to know that somebody sitting in the office will cook some voucher, pay some ghost company, they go back and share the money, and their life goes on. These are the kind of things we experience in the country as Ghana, and then people just in the office, they will just hear that he's been sacked. Not too long ago, we heard that they asked that their MD himself should be fired. I don't know what has come out of that. So now maybe the MD wants to show that he's doing something and he's going to relieve some people, whether through due process or just at his own whims and caprices. Then he decided to lay off people. We are not too sure about. But I'm sure that some of these things we should be serious about them, not just putting up show, but making sure that people are sanctioned through due process. And then other people will learn a lesson and take a cue from it. And next time sit up and do what they have to do right for us to grow as a country, Ghana.
All right. On the page 9 of the same paper, it says electricity tariff increases by 4.22% in September 1. Now, the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission will implement 4.22% increase in electricity tariffs for all non-lifeline residential customers starting September 1, 2023. A statement issued by the PRC and signed by Executive Secretary Dr. Ishmael Aka said the decision comes after a review of the third quarter of 2023 by the company to ensure the real value of the cost of providing utility services is upheld. Quote, the Commission, after extensive deliberations and analysis, has approved a non-increment or change in end-user electricity tariff for lifeline consumers or customers, industrial customers and non-residential customers, hairdressing salons, barbering shops, chop bars, tailoring and dressing making shops, coat stores and other small and medium scale businesses effective September 1, 2023. The Commission, however, approved a 4.22% increase across board in the average end-user electricity tariff for non-lifeline residential customers, it said. Your thought on this?
Same thoughts you have. Why this time? Why under these excruciating economic conditions has salaries been tampered with some way somehow? Or they think that as the usual magicians we should find a way of paying irrespective of whatever situation we are in. These are some of the things that breed corruption in the offices because, of course, if my salary remains the same, you continue to increase electricity and water tariffs, and you expect me to pay my school fees and other things remain the same or even increase by the day, and then my fuel increases, inflation increases, what you buy today, tomorrow, it will be ×2 or time, like 50% over, and you expect the person to remain the same. How would he happen? And so for me, it's like leadership is not seeing the kind of pressure that is on us as Ghanaians. And they keep
but Mr. Rukuto, I mean, the PRC's responsibility is to regulate, the utilities and how they set their tariffs. It is another person's job to look at whether your salaries will be increased or not. So are we being fair if we tie in what the PRC is doing to whether our salaries remain the same or increased?
PURC is not the one who is responsible for increasing our salaries. But my question is, how do we pay? So PURC's business is not how I pay though. But I'm saying that under normal circumstances, if some of these things are increased, government who has oversight responsibility over even the PURC and me should be thinking about how the ordinary Ghanaian is going to take it and how his livelihood is going to be affected by these increases. So that if there's something they can do to poor workers, they should also do to us. That's all my point. I will not fault PURC for increasing these rates because, of course, they also have to be in business, not necessarily making profit, but making sure that they even break even or keep our lights on every time, every day, or making sure that water runs through our taps. But at the end of the day, it is responsibility of government to make sure that we are able to make do our responsibility of paying these bills. So for me, yes, PURC has increased, but what is government looking at? What is government trying to do to ameliorate our suffering and also cause us to be able to match and then get these things underway? For me, that is the angle I'm looking at it from. I will not fault PURC for increasing it, not at all. It is our government making sure that salaries are increased to match these things and so that people can live well as workers in the country. That's all I'm looking at.
Now, Duka opens workshop for small-scale miners. It says the first phase, and this story is written by Emmanuel Opoku from Takwa. Now, the first phase of a pilot training workshop for district mining committees and selected small-scale miners has been opened in Takwa in the Western region. The training program, which will be carried out in mining communities across the country, is a significant step forward in Ghana's ongoing attempt to formalize the artisanal and small-scale mining sector. Now, opening the training section, Deputy Minister for Land and Natural Resources, George Duka, praised the World Bank Group for financial and technical assistance that allowed the government to give capacity building training. Mr. Duka, who is also the Member of Parliament for Takwa, stated that responsible mining is critical to the country's development. Quote, let us work together to create an enabling environment where responsible mining practices can thrive. By formalizing the sector, we can mitigate the negative impact of illegal mining activities and create a more sustainable and inclusive industry. Though through building the capacity of the district mining committees and Ghana National Association of Small-Scale Miners, the government aims to ensure that sustainable and best mining practices are upheld, he explained. Isn't this the way to go? Train them on how to mine. But after training, what must we do to ensure that, in fact, all that we have trained them on are being done?
That is a good question you have asked. It's not just about the training. This is not the first time we've heard about community mining being instituted. I think as far back as 2021 or so, we have continued to hear about these things. And the major mining towns, Takwa, his base, Bogatanga, Oda, and I think Asankragwa and some other place. They are the top 5 communities that this small-scale mining is very ripe. And so for me, sometimes our politicians come out with policies, very good ones, of course, but you look back and the results you get sometimes just tells you that these are things they just bring to make show to the cameras and to the media houses and to Ghanaians. At the end of the day, or behind the scenes, what happens, we all see the effect of it. Has there been any improvement in the water bodies that we have that have been badly affected by this galamsey and other activities that go on in the river bodies? So in as much as we press the right buttons, we go back behind the scenes and do very worse things. These ministers of state, we know these DCEs in most of these districts, we are aware are directly involved in some of these galamsey things. We are aware Santihili is stealing some chiefs who have also given out land or are complicit in this galamsey business. And so for me, these are good policies that are supported by the Westerners to put us on the right track. But whether it's only the gold they are looking for, we are not too sure. We are aware that these small-scale miners and the galamseyers produce over 60% of the gold that we get in Ghana. And so if that is that much that they produce, are we sure we are pressing the right buttons on the ground to make sure that the right thing? So for me, it's not just the show, it's not just the policy, it's not just for the camera, but it should be such that the real effect is felt on the ground. Once our water bodies don't get clearer by the day, it means that we are not doing anything. We are just having a talk show. So until we see clarity, until the turbidity level in our waters begin to be better, we can't say that we are getting anywhere close. This issue has been with us for so many years, and we keep dancing around it. People come to make sure, and at the end of the day, nothing really happens. Let us make sure that the right effect that we are looking for, the result we are looking for, we get it out of this policy.
All right. Thank you very much, Maxwell Lukoto. He is the NDC's parliamentary candidate for South Tom. And this segment was brought to us by Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, and they are offering free prostate screening and female fertility screening, which is also free. You can locate them in Accra, Spintex, opposite Shell signboard, Kumasi Chronom Abohia behind Angel Educational Complex. In Takrade, they are Tanaje Estate, in Tema, in Community 22, Techiman, you can locate them in Hanswa. In Nzema, you can locate them in Esiama. Call them on 0244-867068 or 0274-234321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic diseases. We'll take a quick break. When we return, Muftao and Nabila Abdullah will be joining us with the latest from the world of sports. Stay with us.